Listen.
Welcome to the Brian for Mayor Digital Battle Bus. Welcome to Battle Bus Live. I am Brian Rose, and we are live here on the Brian for Mayor Digital Battle Bus. We are literally touring through London as we speak. Today, we've been in the boroughs of Hackney, Waltham Forest, Redbridge, Havering, and of course, also Newham. So it's been a massive borough tour. I'm looking at my window right now. We got a beautiful green park behind me. Hopefully you can see a lot of the scenery happening. I was at the Olympic Park today. I was at the big ArcelorMittal tower that they built for the Olympics. The Aquatic Center was there. It was absolutely incredible. Of course, we went to the London Fields Lido, which is a really big Olympic-sized pool, which I actually trained at for my Ironman race in 2018. I actually went there and swam laps and got used to the whole thing. We cruised through Newham, where we saw the statue of the World Cup winners of 1966. This is a massive, massive statue. I think it's 2 times bigger than a human, and it was absolutely beautiful. So thank you, Newham, for that. And you know, South Woodford has always been a place in my heart because that's where my wife Mariana and my daughter Gabby were living when I met them. Gabby was about 7 years old at the time, and I used to take the Central line from Liverpool Street because I lived in Hackney in Old Street, and I would go out to South Woodford and I would walk and pick up Gabby, and that was our date. It was like me and Gabby, and we would go to Westfields at the Stratford tube stop, and we would go in there, and it was pretty new at the time, and Gabby and I would go to the food court. I teach her how to play chess, and sometimes I remember we used to buy an outfit for mom, and mom was busy, you know, working. She was working in retail on New Bond Street, and she'd come home, and sometimes Gabby and me would bring her like a dress or something. So I have really fond memories of these boroughs out here. Great things happening, and you know, after that, of course, we all became one family, and Gabby and Mariana moved in with me, and of course, a little bit later, we've got 2 boys on the way, and that's my story of my family. And it actually starts in the outer boroughs of London, so it's great to be back here. You know, every borough of London is so different, and I think it's important as the next mayor of London to remember we've got 32 boroughs in this city, and everyone has different challenges no matter where you are, but I know we can find common goals in a way that we can all find this to be the greatest city in the world. And so today I really want to talk a little bit more about housing and affordable housing. You know, depending on where you are on the scale of income, housing is always a challenge in this city. And I think if we build more affordable homes, it actually makes it more affordable for everyone to rent in this city. And I want to talk about some of my ideas today. But first, I want to bring you up to speed. I am live here on the Digital Battle Bus right now, but we had a few problems on Sunday. You probably saw us in the news. Some videos went viral because I was out campaigning in a COVID-safe way. I was actually alone on a street, talking into my phone, making a video for you, as you've seen me before so many times, and all of a sudden, 5 police vans appeared, and I was surrounded by 10 City of London police officers. Now, this has never happened to me before. And of course, I had my big Brian for Mayor bus behind me. One of the funniest questions they asked me was, can I see some identification? And later, someone on YouTube commented that all they had to do was look behind me because there's a big piece of identification with my face and my name on it. And so, of course, I understand the police have a difficult job, and I respect them always for the difficult job they have, but this seemed very political because the police stopped us, detained us, and fined us, and then banned us from campaigning, which I just think is wrong, and I believe this was a political move. And a couple days later, the Metropolitan Police, a different police arm, stopped our bus and only allowed it to continue when I wasn't on the bus. And again, this all feels political, which is why we drafted this letter from my legal team. It's a 5-page letter that's gone out to the police commissioners in this city. That includes Dame Cressida Dick, Chief Constable Paul Crowther, and of course Commissioner Ian Dyson of the all different police departments here. And we explained why we are following the letter of the law and why it's important that we campaign, because I believe in free and fair elections. I believe in the democratic process. And if you don't know about your candidate, how can you choose on May 6th? We've already had a mayor in City Hall that's been unelected for the past year. Nobody elected him, and he is ruling our city without our vote and consent. And that concerns me, and it concerns me when they don't allow me to campaign. And so I ask that many campaigns and many people, including the Green Party and the Liberal Dems and others, actually get out there and campaign alongside of me. We have to do this now, and the elections must happen on May 6th. Even if they're by postal vote, it's still very, very important, and we look forward to making that happen. So we are back on the bus. We could be pulled over at any time. I just saw a police van. We think we've been followed a few times by police vans, but so far they're leaving us alone, and we appreciate that because they're respecting our rights to campaign and talk about you. By the way, this bus is a completely 100% COVID secure. It has an antiviral fog that is placed inside this entire bus every single night. Everyone coming on the bus are temperature checked. They use hand sanitizers. My whole crew is masked up right now. The only reason I'm not wearing a mask is because I'm filming. These are the same protocols that are being used right now in London on film production sets. So we are using the same protocols. Again, that's why we should be allowed to continue to campaign in this city. And so I'm excited. We're coming at you live, and I'm going to get your questions right now because it's very important that I hear from you. This is a new way of transparent campaigning, and this is what I'm going to take to City Hall. It's your politicians being in communication with you. I bring digital channels with 5 million subscribers, over 500 million views, which means we can already have these conversations. No other candidate can do what I'm doing, and that's why we're going to win on May 6th, of course, with your help and support. So it's amazing. I met some people today that were just shouting over to me. We support you, Brian. We love you. We know you have our interests in heart. People from all ranges of society. It was just amazing. It always makes me feel good. So today I want to talk about housing, because we have a housing crisis here in London that our mayor has failed to address. For the past 5 years, he's promised more housing. He promised when he was elected in 2016 to build 80,000 houses per year, and that means he owes us about 400,000 new homes. He has started construction of only 34,000. He's delivered 12,000 homes in 5 years. That's 3% of what he promised. The national government gave him £4.8 billion in 2018. Where are the homes? Where's the money? We've never seen him deliver, and when he's asked about it, it's always someone else's fault. And so it's frustrating to me. It's probably just as frustrating to you. And today I want to talk about answers. But the truth is, I was just in the borough of Hackney, and Hackney is in desperate need of new homes. And if you look at some of the figures, they're just shocking. Housing is unaffordable for the majority of Hackney residents. I lived in Hackney for 10 years. My business was started in Hackney. It still resides in the borough of Hackney. And the average price of a home in Hackney has increased by 82% in the last 5 years. Imagine that, 82%. How can the regular person afford to buy or rent a home when that's happening? It's unacceptable. And Hackney has seen the biggest average increase in house prices in the country in the last 20 years, in the entire country. No one is thinking about these people. No one is providing them homes. And the mayor's not talking about this, and I'm out here in these boroughs right now talking to you about it. 33% of all households in Hackney are now living in overcrowded accommodations, and the statistics go on, and I want to talk about that today. Finally, I'm going to talk to you about my solution. I'm going to build 50,000 new homes by Christmas this year. Yes, you heard me correctly. That's Christmas this year. I'm going to have about 7 months after I am elected in the office to deliver, but I've already got top architects in London that are actually donating their time because they think this idea is world class. And they've contacted me and said, Brian, we love it. We want to help. We love this city. And we're sick and tired of empty promises from City Hall. We want a man that takes action. We believe in you, and we want to make this plan happen. There's a lot of land that we can put modular housing on today and solve these problems quickly. Why isn't that being talked about by our two-party system? Well, that's another discussion. I can make these changes because I'm an independent candidate. I can take action rapidly because I've been in the business sector. I've worked in industry for 30 years. I know how to hold people accountable. I know how to make a project not run over budget, unlike our current mayor. I've worked in automotive. I've worked in aerospace. I've worked in the City of London. I've worked in tech startup. I've worked in new media broadcasting. I've worked in digital education. I know how to get these things done. I know how to cut deals. I know how to make things happen, and that's what I'm going to do as your next mayor of London. But now I want to go to you and get your answers and get your questions from me. So wherever you're watching this now, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, we're everywhere right now. Tell me, first of all, if you're in London, what borough do you live in? And what is the question you want to ask me? I'm coming to every single borough and I want to hear from you. Second of all, do you think it was right for the police to detain us, to fine us, and then ban us from campaigning? Do you think that was right? And do you think it was politically motivated? Third question is, do you think that free and fair elections should take place on May 6th, and should we be allowed to campaign? And finally, I want you to ask this question, or answer this question. Do you think we need new leadership, new ideas, and take London in a new direction? So submit your questions. I'm going to be going to them very, very quickly. But right now, I want to talk to you about the current state of housing here in London, because it really is at nightmare proportions and it's unacceptable. And I want to talk about housing. All right. Now, housing affects everyone. Matter of fact, it's for 67% of Londoners, it's their number one concern. How many of you, when you get the the bill for your rent or your mortgage payment every month, how many of you say, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money? For many of us, it's 20%, 30%, 40% of our after-tax income. It really hurts. And the problem is that when our mayor is not building more homes, it hurts all of us, no matter if you're in a high rent situation or a low rent situation. We've got to talk about it. And again, back in 2016, your mayor of London said, I'm going to build 80,000 new homes per year. 80,000 new homes per year. It's a quote. You can look it up. 5 years later, that means he owes us 400,000 new homes. Let's look at the figures. Since becoming mayor in May 2016, he's only started building 34,515 homes were started, with only 12,000 homes completed. These are real numbers here. That is 3% of what he promised. Sounds like a trend with him, delivering 3% of what he promised. Very similar when it comes to bankrupting the TfL or teenage knife crime at nightmare proportions. You know, everything he touches seems to fail. And it's no wonder that housing is our biggest issue here in London, because there's just no action being taken. And like I said, back in 2018, City Hall received £4.8 billion from the government. He was supposed to build 116,000 new homes by 2022. Well, last time I checked, it's 2021. So that means we need them by next year. I haven't seen a single new home, and I don't know what happened to that money. But let's be honest, he's not delivering. And Assembly member Andrew Boff recently said, and I quote, Sadiq Khan has been given a record amount of money. He should have been doing an awful lot more. People's housing needs are getting worse. There are more families living in overcrowded conditions, like in Hackney, and yet the mayor just issues statement after statement about wanting more government investment, unquote. More investment, £4.8 billion the government gave you. What have you done with it? I've seen nothing. And another quote, Robert Jenrick, UK's Secretary of State for Housing, said directly to the mayor, quote, housing delivery in London under your mayoralty has been deeply disappointing. Clearly, the housing delivery shortfall you have overseen has led to worsening affordabilities for Londoners, and things are not improving. These are directly from officials' mouths. And the truth is this, the current mayor probably never intended to build homes. He said that line because he was probably just trying to get your vote, like he's trying to in May as well, and hoping that you'll just vote him in for another 3 years. In fact, he just assumes he has your vote. That's why he's not out here on the road talking to you and listening to you. And the truth is he thinks you're just going to vote for the same party your parents did, and you'll just put him into office and you can have 3 more years of this. No more houses. Teenage knife crime, out of control. TfL bankrupt yet again, and our economy is going down and down and down. And this is what you're going to get more of if you decide to stay with the current mayor, or we can go into a new direction. So I want to hear from you. First of all, tell me about your housing commercials. Do you personally struggle to afford to pay your rent or your mortgage payment, and why? Have you struggled to purchase a property? Do you believe that key workers like teachers and nurses and firefighters deserve to have affordable housing in this city? And finally, tell me what borough you're in and the question that you want to ask me. So I'm going to go to these questions right now. There's a lot of them coming in here. I really appreciate this. Wow. We're really blasting out here, and I appreciate everybody. By the way, if you're watching me, leave me a question right now or just say hello. I would appreciate that. We've got someone from our website, Richard Schultz in Camden. That's the borough I live in. He said, hello, Brian. I would really like for you to win so much after reading your approach to making London a safe and clean place to live. Thank you, Richard. He goes on to say, I really feel you would benefit greatly in your quest to become our next London mayor. if you could gain support of local MPs who may feel let down or who can feel that something doesn't feel right about locking people in their own houses and completely dismantling our economy. Your message is brilliant, but how can we get the whole UK to hear you if the media won't tell us about you? Richard, it's a great point that you make. The truth is actually the media is taking notice, but also we've got our own digital channels, and that's what makes me different than any other mayoral candidate, probably different than any other politician in Britain, is that I already have my own channels. I've got 5 million subscribers, 500 million views, and that way I can already communicate with you in a constant way. And getting London back to work in a safe way is one of my most important policies, and that's what I want to do, and I think people are really starting to pick up on this. We can do this by protecting those vulnerable and protecting the elderly, but also get this city back to work. You know, the hospitality venues, the restaurants, the pub cafes, they're only responsible for 3% of COVID transmissions. They know how to operate safely. We've just got to give them the chance to do so. So, Richard, I appreciate your thoughts, and I'm definitely going to move forward. People are taking notice of my message, and we're having a ton of success. So I appreciate you. I've got Darren in Islington saying, hello, Brian. I am keen on your plan for the revitalization of urban environments, pedestrianization, and air quality improvements. What is your view on the quote-unquote people-friendly streets we have in Islington and other boroughs? I am personally very much in favor of these, but I feel your, albeit temporary suspension of congestion charges conflicts with the green ethos. Could you clarify? Great question, Darren. The reason I want to eliminate the congestion charge for 6 months is because I want to bring business back into London. If we don't give our economy that jolt, then we're not going to have anything to talk about. We won't even have the tax revenues to do anything we can with this business. So again, I want to reduce the congestion charge and have a congestion charge holiday for 6 months. And after that, what I want to do is then I want to find a way that we can reduce the number of cars on the streets. I actually want to remove parked cars on the streets. And that way we can just have more room for our businesses, more room for our retails. And when it comes to these zones, as far as these car-free zones, you know, I'm against them if they create more congestion and more disruption in the neighborhoods. But otherwise, I'm really happy to go forward with those and, of course, find out much more about what we can do to make things greener. I've got entire policies called Green First on my website. So go to brianformayor.london and you can explore that, and I really appreciate your comments. Some other stuff coming in on Instagram. We got Van Jones saying, I love you, Brian. I appreciate that. The Patient Advocate on Instagram says, the digital battle bus. I love it, right? And no, this idea seems so simple, but it's a great way to talk to you about the issues that are happening. And again, we're going through right now in Redbridge, in Havering, in Waltham Forest, in Hackney, and we're really finding out what's going on the ground, and I can look around here and see what's happening. And housing is a real concern here, and I want to talk about how we can build affordable housing and modular housing, and I'm going to talk to you about it right now. But I'm going to get into you about some of the problems that Hackney is suffering when it comes to the housing. A couple other things here. I got Vincent Iannucci on Instagram says, I have friends in Redbridge. I'll tell them to look out for you. That's fantastic. People are honking their horns when they go by. I got Moonphase on Instagram saying simply Brian for mayor. Thank you very much. I've got Crawley88 on Instagram says, I just found out you're going to run for London Mayor. Brilliant news. I appreciate you. I've got Fitz on Instagram says, one bedroom in Hackney is now over £400,000. It's disgusting is what he says. I was born and raised here and I can't afford to stay in my own borough. Fitz, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And this is why it's so important that I'm out here on the road. This is why it's important that I'm out here campaigning. People said, babe, maybe you should stay at home, Brian. No, I don't think so, because you've got Fitz here that has a great point. He is there in Hackney. He's being asked for £400,000 for a one-bedroom place in Hackney. There's no affordable homes, and he's struggling with a real serious issue. And it's not just you, Fitz. It's people in Redbridge. It's people in South Woodford. It's people in Waltham Forest. It's people in Tower Hamlets. I've been to all these boroughs, talking to people on the ground. It's people in Southwark. I was in Lambeth yesterday as well. This is a real issue, and let's talk about this issue right now, because when we look at Hackney, I mean, some of the numbers are just hard to believe, and I appreciate that Fitz brought that up. If we look at some of the data, it's almost hard to believe. And again, housing is increasingly unaffordable for the majority of Hackney residents, much like Fitz. The average price of a home has increased 82% in the past 5 years. Imagine that. Now, that might be good if you're a real estate developer, but I'm talking about real people on the ground, the citizens of London, the lifeblood of our city. If they can't afford a home, we don't have a city anymore. What if our teachers, our nurses, our firefighters, our police officers, who I respect, they can't have a place to live in this city, then we don't have a city anymore. We've got one of these emerald cities where there's no real people in there. We've all been to those cities before. It's just not the same thing. And when you look at Hackney, it's seen the biggest average increase in house prices in the country in the past 20 years. I know our cameras are moving around here a little bit because we are actually in motion here. But in the last 20 years, it's seen the single biggest average increase in house prices in the country. And we've got to do something about that. 33% of all households in Hackney are living in overcrowded accommodations. This is unacceptable, unacceptable. And it gets worse. The number of people applying for a council home in Hackney is rising. There are currently nearly 13,000 people on the housing waiting list in Hackney. This is unacceptable, and up to 500 more are added to this list every single month. What is the mayor doing about this? I bet he's not even aware of what's going on here. Last year, they were able to offer properties in Hackney to 1,187 people on the waiting list. But that means at this current rate that it's going to take more than 10 years, yes, 10 years, to house everybody who is currently awaiting. And that's only if no one else applied. This is a crisis, and it's happening right in the middle of our city. In the borough where my company is located, it's hard to even repeat these figures. And so over the last 5 years, the number of families in temporary accommodation in Hackney has steadily increased. And you know, one of our friends, her name is Diana, she's a good friend of my wife, and she had to go into some borough supported housing, and they didn't have anywhere for her to go, so she had to go to a bed and breakfast. And my wife went there with her name is Deanna, and she came home and she said, Brian, you should have seen the state of this place. It was absolutely horrible. The conditions were squalid, and yet they were still paying some really high amount, over £100 a night for this poor temporary accommodation. The truth is the current plan is costing us more than if we actually had permanent housing in place. And this is one of the many things that's not being addressed by your mayor, and it's something that is number one on my list when it comes to moving into City Hall. My housing policy, it's head and shoulders above the rest of the people running for this office, including the current mayor. He doesn't have any solutions. He's got a 5-year track record of failure. Housing's important to me, and again, I have the exact solution, and I'm going to share it with you now. So again, let me go back to you. I want to talk to you and find out, first of all, do you personally struggle to afford to pay your rent, and why? Do you struggle to purchase a property here in London or anywhere else in the UK? Do you think that our key workers, I'm talking about our nurses, our firefighters, our police officers, should be allowed to afford to rent or buy a home in the city? And do you think the current mayor failed on his promises to give us more affordable housing? And do we need to take this city in a new direction? So again, I want to go to your questions. Again, also tell me what borough you're in and what question you have for me, because I'm coming. You can see the digital battle bus is here. By the way, this is not one of those Hollywood effects with the green screens. I am literally right now going through the boroughs here. I just saw a sign for Woodford here behind me. We're going into a roundabout as we speak, and we're doing this in real time because I really want to speak to the people. And I've got Kim Haynes here on YouTube that says, bless you, speak for the people. I appreciate that, Kim. That means a lot to me. I had someone that shouted over to me when I was over at the Olympic Park and said, Brian, you are a man of the people. We love you, we trust you, and we're voting for you. And I really appreciate that sentiment. It really means a lot. Honestly, it gives me energy when we're getting stopped by the police, and you know, it feels like the political apparatus is trying to stop us from talking to you. It gives me the energy, so I appreciate all of you so much. I got James Alabone on YouTube saying, Brian, I think this congestion charge is absolutely unacceptable. And James, you're right. I did an entire 90-minute piece about how the current mayor of London has failed in his implementation of the transport infrastructure. He raised your congestion charge. He extended it to 24/7. He extended it even further out to the ultra low emission zone. And now he wants to extend it even further. This is not the way that you get business done in London. This is not the way you tax your citizens. And here's the thing. The congestion charge actually affects lower income citizens even worse because it's a fixed charge. It's the wrong thing to do. It's the worst thing to do. And we're going to change that. We're going to start with the congestion charge holiday, and I have a lot of other ideas of how we're going to bring income into the city, and I'll speak about that briefly at the end. We've got Alan Gibb on YouTube. Is worried and says, methinks he has stopped it again. I hope not. If he has, this country is in trouble. I think Alan is talking about my political process. Don't worry. We're going to move forward by any means necessary. To be honest, we could be pulled over at any point in time right now and arrested, but we think we're doing things to the letter of the law. We know we are, and we're going to continue moving forward as well. I've got Alex 85 says, great ideas, keep going. Can't wait for you to come to Barnet. Great stuff, Alex. I want to come see you in Barnet as well. I got Diamond Dallas Page here. My man, Diamond Dallas Page, is on Instagram. Diamond Dallas Page is an incredible, incredible man. He was a former professional American wrestler. He got some really bad back injuries when he was 42, 45. He's actually got a great documentary right now on Amazon called Relentless. And Diamond Dallas Page, I do his DDPY, which is a yoga system that he developed. He doesn't like it when I use the word. And Diamond Dallas just came on Instagram and says, quote, my man, you will be the mayor of London, brother. Diamond Dallas Page. I appreciate you, Diamond. He probably said it more like, my man, you will be the mayor of London, brother. That's how he talks, and he's great. I appreciate you, Diamond. And again, Diamond's great. You know, he makes sure I have a physical practice every day, which keeps my mental health really strong and my physical practice as well. So thank you, Diamond. It's good to know I got great people here. Yesterday, we had Elle McPherson coming in from Miami supporting me, so thanks so much, Elle. And we had Dejan Lovren, the Premier League footballer who's gone on to St. Petersburg, giving us support as well. So I appreciate you as well. All this love is incredible. Around the world, we've got a lot of support to be in the next mayor, and that really means a lot. So a couple more comments, and I want to get into a few more details here. We've got Aaron Unknown on YouTube saying, absolutely love and support this man. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate you. I've got Alex85 on Instagram saying, people can't afford a home, especially when wages don't go up. Everything else goes up, and it's hard to keep up. Alex, you've said it right there. We've got London, which is an incredible, incredible city. It's growing, it's building, it's leading the world, and yet, what do? We price out the citizens so they can't even live in the city. Guess what? This is not sustainable. Unless we elect a mayor who has affordable housing solutions, this city won't grow anymore. It will no longer be the greatest city in the world, and that's why you have to have a mayor with solutions, and I'm going to share with you my solution just shortly, and it's incredible, and it's been road tested by architects, and they know we can make this happen, and planners as well. So thank you. I appreciate that observation, Alex. A couple more. Lee Hawick on Instagram says, mental health nurse here. To be able to buy a property in London is proving impossible. Brian, we need you as mayor for sure. Good luck. Lee, first of all, I appreciate what you do. Working on people's mental health and being a nurse is so important. And you said it right there. How are we going to support our key workers if we don't have affordable housing? This is something that I've been looking into in detail. A lot of you have watched my broadcast. You can go to my YouTube channel or go to my website. Go to my Real Deal page. And I've done an entire piece about housing. I go into detail about the problem. I go into more detail about the current mayor's failures, and I go into my solutions. And I'm working with some incredible people on that, and I'm going to share with that. So thank you, Lee. We have to support our nurses and our key workers at all costs. A couple more here. I got Amber on YouTube. It says, Brian, what means the most to you in this life? Love, Amber. Proud of your journey. And it's a great question, Amber. You know, for the longest time, what meant the most to me was me. Right? For most of my life in my 20s and 30s, I thought Brian was the most important thing. And when I met my daughter, Gabby, when I went out to South Woodford, right around here, I started to realize that it was about other people. And it was about investing in the children and the future generations. And that's what my last 10 years has been with London Real. It's been about me serving other people. It's been about me giving back to other people. So the most important thing to me right now is to serve, period. And that's what I've been doing. And the crazy thing is, serving makes me happier than making me happy. And so every day I get up and I try to put in 15, 16, 18, 20-hour days to serve other people. I've been doing it through London Real through 10 years, 500 million views on our videos, all free to watch. And now I realized that being mayor of London is how I can even serve more. And it's going to be the hardest job of my life. It's going to be challenging and difficult, but it's the greatest way I can serve. Imagine if I can build 50,000 new homes by Christmas. Imagine the smiles on the faces of the families with their new home celebrating Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever holiday they're celebrating. Imagine that. That is real service, and that's what makes me happy. So thank you, Amber. And again, keep asking me these hard questions. You know, I'm doing this live. I am the most transparent politician you'll ever meet. As a matter of fact, I'm not even a politician. I'm someone who cares about this city, who wants to make a difference. I am always here for you. I'm always here to answer questions and be transparent about my failures and my successes. And I want to get your ideas so we can make the best decisions together. And I feel like we're going right by South Woodford here where Gabby and Mariana used to live. It all looks familiar. and it's great being in the boroughs of Redbridge out here and Havering and going through Waltham for us. We appreciate you. We appreciate every borough in London. You all have your unique challenges, and I want to help solve them all. A couple more questions here. We've got one more here, and I'll switch over as well. We got Leanna Francis on Instagram that says, quote, "It costs me £8,500 a year to rent a bedroom and share a bathroom in South Woodford." I bet Leanna's probably watching us go right by as we speak right now. She goes on to say, "It's absolutely disgusting. Even earning £25,000 a year, I can't afford a one-bed flat on my own." Leanna, you said it right there. You know, you're the exact person that I'm talking to, and that's why these conversations are so important. That's why the digital battle bus is so crucial, because we can have real conversations about the struggles. You're making £25,000 a year. I bet you probably went and paid for a degree to get that, right? You probably thought when you were a kid, if I could make £25,000 a year, I could live in this city. And guess what? You can't. And that's unacceptable. And I'd say the blame goes right up to the mayor. If the mayor can't provide affordable housing, then what's he doing for this city? If there were 400,000 more affordable homes in this city, I would almost promise, Liana, you wouldn't have that same problem. When you squeeze the supply of houses and homes, everything goes up. And that's why this, I think, is one of the most important issues in this city. And I have the solution now, and I want to share it with you. So again, I've done detailed research on this. I've done an entire episode on this. And the solution to this problem, it's not obvious from the outset. It really takes some real research to get into. And I want to explain to you exactly what it is. And it's something that's actually been around for a long time. And it's called modular housing. Now, a modular house is a house that is custom designed, and it's built in an indoor factory setting, and it can be built to a spec. And these homes can be built for 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. They can be built for 2 people, for 6 people, for families of 8. They can be built and customized, and then they can be delivered on site and constructed in a matter of days. So we can use unused land by the TfL, and there's a lot of it. I'll be publishing the geographic data very soon. We can use unused land in borough areas. We can use land that is now, because it's not being used, oftentimes used for criminal activity. We can go in, design these modular homes, and put them in place in the matter of weeks and have people living in them. There's a great precedent, and this has been done on the Dyson campus. Yes, Dyson, the incredible British company here that makes the vacuum cleaners and lots of other technical devices. They built their campus on modular homes. And I guess I did a whole video about this. I'm looking at pictures of it right now. And they had incredible success with this. Modular homes are customizable, they're flexible, they're fast, they can address the current housing crisis. They're also movable, and they can be updated as well. So say 5 years from now, we want to replace the kitchen, it can literally be put right in. And these are actually beautiful homes. In New York City now, they're building the very first modular hotel. This is happening all over the world. You'll probably drive by a modular office building and you won't realize what it is. So this is a completely new technology. It's a different way of looking at housing. We used to think of housing that it has to be a 12-story council flat. That's the only solution. That's not true. There's a lot of available land, some of it in every single borough of the city. With modular housing, we can look at the land, we can design what we want, it can be built in a factory, delivered and placed on that land. We don't even need to own the land. The city might have that land, and we just came from Hackney in Stratford, where a lot of that land was repurposed for the Olympic build. We could put housing right on that land in a quick way. We could probably bypass a lot of the approvals necessary by the government. We can use the government land. And then when we need to move that housing other places, we can do it swiftly. This is an incredible idea. And as soon as I published it, I was contacted by developers and architects in the City of London, some of them at the top of their game. And they said, Brian, we love this idea. We love this city, and we want to help you make it happen. So right now, behind the scenes, I've got top people working on the designs, the builds. So on May 6th, after we're elected mayor, on May 7th, I will get to work. And that's why I promise you this bold idea of 50,000 new homes by Christmas 2021. Imagine that. That's 4 times the number of homes your current mayor has managed to build in 5 years. I'm going to do in about 5 months. How can I do that? It's just because I want to get the job done, and I'm not part of one of the two-party systems with their strange corporate interests and all of the weirdness going on behind the scenes. What I want to do is actually build houses, not talk about houses. And we can do this through this modular scenario. It's an incredible technology. Like I said, we can build them. We can build them in Britain. We can custom design them. They can go up to 1, 2, 3 stories tall. And again, they can be designed. They're beautiful. They've got great modern amenities, kitchens, bathrooms, everything. And we can literally place these all around the city. I'm looking at locations right now from the top of this bus where we can place houses. I see land that's unused right now. How come we can't go there? How come we can't go there? I'm guessing that these questions were never asked to the mayor. They never said, guess what, we've got a custom solution. It's quite low cost. It's going to be excellent for your families. No more bed and breakfasts that cost £100 a night, that have poor accommodations for families. No more overcrowding in our boroughs of Hackney. Why not build a modular house and let them move in, have some pride and be able to work in this city, house their families, and be a key worker? The solutions are here and they're right in front of us. I'm telling you, I've researched this. This is one of our key policies, and it's something that no one is talking about except for us. And who knows? Maybe that's why, we're trying to be silenced. I'm not sure, but we're going to keep putting these ideas out there. And the beauty is we have the digital platforms to make it happen, and we have this incredible digital battle bus to talk to you. So let me get your answers to these questions. This is the last time I'll be asking you questions. First of all, do you personally struggle to afford to pay your rent, and why? Do you struggle to purchase a property here in London or in whatever city around the world? I think our ideas work everywhere. Do you believe that key workers like teachers, nurses, firefighters deserve to be able to afford a home in the city where they live? And do you think the current mayor has failed on his promises to build new homes? You just have to look at his track record. Lastly, do you think it's time? Do you think it's time that we take London in a new direction? What about some new ideas, some independent leadership? I'm telling you, all of this can be solved with simple decisions and people working together. There are great people in this city that want the best for our citizens. Let's give them the chance to make it happen. So again, leave me your questions in the chat. Also tell me, what borough are you in? And what is the question that you want to ask me when I come visit you? And again, there's so many questions here. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. Leave me your question here. If I don't read it out, I'm going to try to reply to it later. Share this video with anyone who's out there who needs to see this right now. I appreciate that. And we've got William26 on Instagram saying, Brian, if Brian isn't mayor, we will lose our great city. Thank you, William. I appreciate that. And I can't imagine 3 more years of this current mayor. I mean, I just can't imagine. It makes me sad. So I appreciate you saying that. Lou Tripio on Instagram says, Brian, you the man. Support from Boston, Massachusetts. Keep doing what you do. Thank you very much, Lou. I appreciate support from all around the world. I spent about 4 years in Boston, Massachusetts. I was at MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, getting my degree in mechanical engineering. I was mostly studying in the library, but it's a beautiful city, and I appreciate you. And I appreciate you recognizing that our ideas are the way for the future. So thank you so much. We got Monal Prince on Instagram saying, question, what will be your 3 key decisions as the mayor of London? Great, I love this. Cold question, I've never heard that question before. First of all, obvious one, housing. We've got to get this affordable housing built. It's going to be one of my #1 priorities, and I know we can do it. 50,000 new homes by Christmas 2021, period. Second, we got to get London back to work. If we don't strengthen the economy, nothing will be strengthened. We need to find safe and effective ways to get the city back to work while protecting our vulnerable and our elderly. We need a mayor that finds solutions, not a mayor that causes panic and wants to scare you. We need a mayor who cares about the citizens and cares about business, and that's what we need to do. The third thing I want to do is make our streets safe. We've just had the current mayor just logged his 100th teenage murder on his watch. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. There are policies we can be put in place right now through investing in our communities, putting more police on the streets. We could solve this problem. It's getting worse and worse and worse on the current mayor's watch. Imagine 3 more years of this. Where will knife crime be in 2024 under Sadiq Khan? I don't even want to imagine. I can't even imagine my children walking on the streets with that. So those are my top 3 priorities. Great question. I got Ace Hatake on YouTube that says, come to Hammersmith and Fulham Borough, Brian. We need to have more affordable rent. Young people can't rent a place without needing to share with someone else to be able to afford it. Good stuff, Ace. We are coming to Hammersmith. We are coming to Fulham. We are coming to the borough of Kensington. We're coming everywhere. So I appreciate you. And yes, you're right. We've got to have more affordable housing. It will ease the strain for so many people here. I'm just looking at some of the streets going by Hoe Street here. And it's just great to be in these boroughs. So yeah, we've got to build the housing. It's going to ease it for you, for the students, for everyone. We need everybody to be able to afford to live in this city. That's what makes our great culture. And so I appreciate your question very much. We got Marcus 9-star on YouTube says, I love the battle bus. Thank you. So do I. It's a lot of fun to be in this bus. It's great being up front. And let me tell you something honestly. It's great to actually be in these boroughs, you know, to go through every day and to see what's happening and to look at the people and to see the boarded up pubs, the boarded up buildings, you know, the fact that we've got to get this city back to work. I can see the houses being built, the houses not being built. I can see what's going on. So it's great to be on the bus for so many different reasons, and it's great to be with you. So thank you so much. We've got Konstantinos on YouTube says, you're a good man, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. We've got Daycare on Instagram saying, hi, Brian. I'm Ruth from Hammersmith. What do you think about the closing of our gyms? You know, Ruth, gyms, according to Public Health England, only account for 1.7% of COVID transmissions. I know this because our good friend Nick Whitcomb up in the Merseyside area near Liverpool, who we've just signed on as our special advisor for health and mental well-being, Nick Whitcomb fought back when they tried to close his gyms in Tier 3. You might remember that video that went viral where he had 8 armed police officers come to his gym to try to shut it down. I don't think we should shut the gyms down. I think we have to invest in our physical health and our mental health now. I think that's one of the main things we need to do. We've got to find a safe way to open up our gyms. I miss going to my gym. It's what keeps me healthy, what keeps me fit, what keeps my immune system up, let's be honest, and allows me to keep doing these broadcasts. So I appreciate you. We're going to try to get a way to get these gyms open safely and our hospitality sector open safely as well. A couple more questions here. Just want to shout them out here. We've got Ben on YouTube that says, as mayor, how important is it that we maintain free speech throughout these times? Keep up the good work. Great question, Ben. And if you're coming new to Brian for Mayor or Brian Rose or London Real, you might not know for the past year, we have been on the front lines, literally fighting for your right for freedom of speech. We've been out there. I put my whole business on the line last year, going up against the major social media networks, the trillion-dollar Silicon Valley technology companies that tried to get me to stop speaking the truth. That's one of the reasons I'm out here on a digital battle bus. That's one of the reasons that so many people have heard of us, because we believe in free speech. We think you as an adult should have the right to choose the ideas. And again, I want to give you a choice of ideas, and then as an adult, you get to make the choice. So free speech is very important to me. Digital freedom of speech is one of my 12 key policies. You can read more about it on brianformayor.london. I appreciate that question. Thank you so much, Ben. A couple final questions here before I go. We've got Model on Instagram says, I will vote for you. Hashtag Brian for Mayor. Thank you very much. I've got Max also on Instagram says, Brian, you will win easily. Hashtag Brian for Mayor. I appreciate that, Max. Let's assume I won't, and let's all get out there and vote on May 6th. If you haven't yet voted, go to votefirst.london. It's a free website that we put up. If you've got 5 minutes, you can register to vote right now. You just have to be a resident in this city. You don't have to be a citizen. Go vote. If you vote on May 6th, we will become the next mayor of London, but we can't get complacent yet. So I appreciate you. I've got Nico on YouTube that says we need to build at scale to drive prices down, and we agree. We have to build houses at scale to drive prices down, and that's exactly what modular housing is. We can pretty much design 50,000 homes. We can build them in factories, and then we can ship them, and then basically put them on land that can be temporary or permanent. It can happen quickly, and we can do it because we scale. So I appreciate that, and I totally agree with you, Nico. It's a great observation. Melissa on YouTube says the modular homes are everywhere here in the States, and they are great. I appreciate that, Melissa. There's some incredible modular homes. They're doing amazing things. We know this works, and people in the industry agree with me on that. Simon on YouTube says, Brian for Mayor, good luck, sir. We're behind you 100%. I live on that bus, you know, hashtag battle bus. I love that. Thanks, Simon. I did think about getting a bed in here last night, and I did want to sleep here, but I did go home to my family, but I appreciate that. It's a great bus, and we're going to bring it to every borough and come and see you. George Wild on Instagram says, quote, Sadiq Khan is already in for another bonus year. We need to get him out ASAP. We need someone like Brian who will invest in London's police and keep us safe. George, I agree. This current mayor has been unelected for a year. That is completely undemocratic. And now they're talking about postponing elections. Now I am being stopped, detained, and fined and arrested for campaigning. It all doesn't seem fair. I believe in democracy. You know, this is the birthplace of democracy. We should be allowed for free and fair elections to take place on May 6th. If you agree with me, leave me a comment, forward this video, tell your friends. Free and fair elections on May 6th, which means we should be allowed to campaign. Thank you very much for your comment. I appreciate that. Couple more. George on Instagram said, no, I just quoted you there. That's great. Oh, also, George talked about invest in London's police. That's what I want to do. Our London police need more training. They need more police, and they need more help from us. I respect what they do. And again, I think us being detained and fined was politically motivated, and I know the police have a difficult job to do. Darush on Instagram says, Brian, you are putting in the work, but making it look easy for the win. Thank you very much. You know what? I think a professional always makes it look easy, all right? So there's nothing easy about this, but I'm going to always do it with a smile. I am super optimistic for the future. I love this city, but let's be honest. It's one of the lowest performing European cities in the entire continent. It's a shame that this city is in this state. We are in a shambles right now. With some changes in leadership, with some new ideas and a new direction, we could be the greatest city in the world once again. So let's make it happen, and I appreciate the comment. Stealth on YouTube says, wages never kept up with the price of housing. This is an issue my generation face. Affordable modular housing is definitely the way forward. Stealth, I appreciate you. You know exactly what I'm talking about. When people hear my housing ideas, they get it right away. They said, that makes total sense, Brian. Let's do that. How come our current mayor never thought of that? 5 years. You know, he's literally got billions of pounds of budget he could have spent trying to figure this out. I am completely self-funded in this venture, and I figured it out quickly because why? I don't have an agenda. I don't have a political party. I don't have tens of millions of pounds in corporate donations. I just want the best idea, and I want the best for my fellow citizens here in London. So thank you. A couple more here. I've got Antis on Instagram saying London needs leadership. We have finally found someone with guts to speak the truth. Strength, no weaknesses. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, and I do speak the truth, and I will speak the truth constantly. That's why I'm here with you live on these digital platforms. This is where the truth resides, in the back of a bus, streaming digitally to you. I'm on Redbridge Road right now here in E10. Big shout out to everybody around here. It's great to see you here. I love these boroughs in London. This is where the people of London are, and it's great being out here. Kevin Gladish on Instagram says, I live in Bexley, south of London. I just was checking you out on the map today. It always seems to get forgotten about. That's what Kevin said. Kevin, I haven't forgotten about you. I almost told my driver to dip into south from Havering today and come and see you in Bexley. But he said, Brian, we're going to have to hit them later in the week, so I am coming to see you again. That's the point of this bus. We want to get out into each borough and find out the problems you're facing. So Kevin, I'm going to come see you. We're coming there next Thursday, as that's in our schedule. So Kevin, hopefully you'll come in and see me live, and I'll answer your question, and maybe I'll give you a wave as we pass by. Couple last more. I got Anthropoid on YouTube that says the battle bus is amazing. And finally, I got Joao on YouTube saying, Brian, will you debate Khan before the election? And let me just read this question out. It's coming from YouTube. It's Joao Sapaio, and he says this: Brian, will you debate Sadiq Khan? And let me give you this answer as clear as I could possibly make it. Yes, I will debate Sadiq Khan anywhere, anytime, anyhow. You choose the platform, Mr. Mayor. I'll do it in your balcony office at the top of City Hall. I'll do it on one of your mainstream media platforms that are sympathetic to you. I'll do it on YouTube. I'll do it on Instagram Live. I'll do it anywhere. So meet me, and let's let the best idea wins. This isn't about egos. This is about the citizens. This is about the people. This is about the 9 million Londoners who are having a difficult time right now. Let's debate, and let's see which idea wins best. I challenge this to you, Mr. Mayor. Respond to me. Tell me where and when, and I'll be there. So I just want to say to everyone, I really appreciate the time today. And again, I want to get London back to work. We've got to get our city back to work, and I think we can, and we can do it safely, and I've got the policies to show how we can do it. Next, we've got to build the affordable housing. Modular is the way forward. Next, we've got to keep London safe. Knife crime is at nightmare proportions. We can fix this by investing in community centers with corporate sponsors. This gives our teenagers something to do and to get out of the streets and to start building businesses, to start investing in themselves. That's how we help the police do a very, very difficult job. Finally, we've got to fix our transportation system. We can fix TfL. TfL is going bankrupt this year because of the current mayor, and it was going bankrupt before the COVID crisis. But the TfL is an incredible engine of revenue for this city, and yet it's always the last person to get paid, the last entity to get paid. TfL it brings business to London. Most of the massive buildings that you see, for example, on the Jubilee line, only became that way because of TfL investment. It's about time that TfL reaps some of those rewards, and I've got a revenue structure so TfL can not only break even, but be a profitable entity going forward. Imagine if TfL could invest in these modular homes on TfL land. Imagine if the TfL could be a part of the community support as well. All of this can happen, but you've got to run London like a business. And that's something our current mayor will never understand. He's never run a business in his life. He's just a career politician and doesn't understand how to get deals done and how to look after the citizens and make sure that everyone can win in the end. And so those are some of my policies. Go to brianformayor.london. This has been a lot of fun today. I will continue streaming live from the digital battle bus. And again, we are out here putting it on the line every single day. I saw a police van following us earlier. We could be stopped at any point in time. But again, our legal team has told us that we are allowed to be out here campaigning. I believe in free and fair elections. We are following all of the COVID restriction rules to the letter. Like I said, film productions are happening right now in London following the same protocols. We are doing this in a safe manner. I am communicating digitally with people, and that's the wave of the future. And this transparency is the wave of the future when it comes to politics. And I promise to you, I will always be accountable to you. We will always have these conversations, and together we are going to take London in a new direction. Let's make this a world-class city once again. I'm sure we can. I'm super excited for the results, and I will see you tomorrow on Battle Bus Live. Submit your questions at brianformayor.london/bus. Share this video with your friends. Leave me comments below. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. It's my honor to serve you as the next mayor of London. Thank you so much. I will see you next time on Battle Bus Live.